Okay, students, I wanted to go ahead and make a short video. I only have one other slide than this one, so it should be very short, just to reassure you regarding the staffing assignment that we have coming due here very quickly. Let me go ahead and switch the slide. As you see, these are my suggestions, but I noted in the instructions, and of course you find this assignment in the Dropbox. As you see in the instructions, you have a choice whether you want to use the data that I've provided. I have data provided for a K through 5 elementary school, 3 years of projected enrollment data, or you can use the data for your own school. If you want to try to make the assignment more meaningful by using data that is real for your school, feel free to do that. Just let me know, give me a note on there what I'm looking at when I look at it. So your first decision to make is whether you want to use my data or you want to actually do this staffing allocation for your school. But the point of the activity, this is what we're trying to do in a basic mode here, is to simulate what the main steps are in developing a staffing plan. We're limiting this just to teaching staffing plan. Obviously you have other groups of employees, custodians, food service, etc. This is just staffing for teachers. And we're also oversimplifying it by ignoring all the complications that come into staffing teachers, like your exploratory classes, the specials, the advanced placement, students with disabilities. We're ignoring all that just for the sake of trying to simplify this. But the importance of this exercise cannot be overstated. Many of you have no opportunity to participate in these kinds of leadership decisions in your current position. So that's why we're trying to do the best we can to simulate this. And so much of the budget in your school system is allocated to staffing. Probably 65% of your budget, give or take a few percentages, includes the salaries and benefits for teachers. So the teacher staffing plan is a majority by far of your school system's budget. And when you throw all the staffing in there, including secretarial, custodial, administrative, all the different employee groups, you could be looking at close to 90% of your budget for your entire school system is allocated to the district staffing plan. So it's a big deal. This is not anything any more complicated than doing a basic mathematical calculation. Your district is either, if you're in Georgia, is either using the Georgia class size rules, which I think we're mostly aware that we've not been following those the last several years because Georgia has been in a budget crisis, so the state has continued to waive those. They're really not requirements at this point. They've not been requirements because they haven't been enforced because of our budget problems. But your system is either using those class size rules as the metric to staff its schools, or it's come up with its own system. It may be the state rules plus 2 more students, or it may be the state rules minus 2 students. So the second thing you need to really note on your assignment, and the first being whether you're using my data or your own data, then the next thing that becomes important to me when I'm looking at this is, are you using the Georgia class size rules, or do you use something else in your district? And if you do use something else in your district, maybe it would make sense for you to go ahead and use that for this exercise, but you need to tell me what your district uses, so that would be something you need to put on there. But it's a simple mathematical calculation. Let's just use kindergarten as an example. If you have 100 kindergartners, and let's just say hypothetically the Georgia class size rules say 20 students per teacher, you would simply divide the number of students allowed per teacher, which is 20. You would divide that into the 100 total students, and you would determine that you need 5 kindergarten teachers, each having 20 students in their class, would get you right at the Georgia class size rules. So this is a simple division situation, which would be how you would allocate or determine your initial allocations based upon the basic class size rules. So I've attached the class size rules. I've also attached an article on site-based budgeting. So in addition to doing the basic calculations, there's a couple of questions that are asked regarding advantages and disadvantages of allowing some of these budget kind of decisions with respect to personnel allocations, whether it's a good or a bad idea, what's the pros and the cons of allowing some of those decisions to be made at the school level. So instead of just taking the allocation that you're given from the central office, is there any advantage to allowing the school to bargain or negotiate with the central office to maybe get a different allocation? Maybe you want a math coach because your data analysis has suggested to you that you need to improve math, so you're willing to trade off a social studies teacher in order to get a math coach, just as a for example. So don't ignore the questions. There's also a question about any models you've seen with regard to helping to best support school improvement. So you've got a simple mathematical calculation and then a couple of questions to respond to based on an article that's posted there. So hopefully this becomes evident to you when you look at what's there and you look at the actual assignment sheet. So good luck in completing this.